share the comment. Can you see the screen now, everyone?
Yes, Vinod.
Yes,
Yes,
Vinod.
Vinod.
Okay. See, I want your full concentration here. Do not do any personal things, personal work. This session, if you miss one point, these are all dependent on each other. So I want you to be very focused. Okay, everyone. All right. So we know we've been doing Selenium sessions quite a while now, and we are done with how to read and write the text files. We have also done how to read, right? The important configuration files, right? Property files. How to you know create the property files. How to read the property files. We have done a couple of examples, and we have done the scripting also. Okay, and we will proceed further in automation, right? So we all know the test data plays an important role. The word test data. So see, test data is something where whenever you pass the data onto the website or a web application while testing, that data might not be a accurate data. So you just want to test whether by passing the data it is working fine or not. So that's why we call that as a test data, because we use the data for a testing purpose. So people might be asking, have you anytime prepared test data? What do you mean by test data? Right? So you should be having a knowledge of what is the test data. So the name itself says the data which is used for testing, right? That's called as test data. So test data is very, very important. See, as a tester, right, as an automation tester or manual tester, the test data plays a very, very important role in your career, in your testing career. Even if development, everyone, developer, architect, the test data is very important, right? So in automation framework, whenever we work for any organization, so they'll have their own frameworks. So they maintain the test data in a different formats. Somebody maintains test data in CSV, somebody maintains in Excel, somebody maintains in or there might be different JSON format, XML format. There are different ways of storing the data, right? And one of the easiest part, one of the easiest and the most common way of storing and maintaining the data is an Excel. It's most of the time, the manual testers keep their data in the Excel files. Most of the time, we write the test cases in Excel only. We put our test data in the Excel files. Now, so what we do, we put that complete test data into a particular file, and we saw, right? We saw recently the configuration file. We put it in a separate folder called data, which is part of a project hierarchy, right? We never stored in your local machine, C drive, D drive, E drive. We have saved that folder into your project, to your Eclipse project, to your Selenium project, correct? Right? And everyone should be very, very much aware. This is very, very important. Okay. Please bear in mind, Selenium doesn't support any file reading concept. Is it clear? Everyone,
Yes, Vinod.
right? Everyone is clear, right? Selenium will not support any file reading concept. Why? Can someone tell me why Selenium not supports file reading concepts? One example, please.
It is a web uh, browser application automation tool. So uh,
What is the main reason? Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Can someone try to put it in a different way? Right or wrong? Come on, speak out. These are all interview questions. Why Selenium doesn't support file concept? Now, Niharika gave some idea. So you should talk more about it. Everybody listening? Yes.
Yes,
Is my
yes, we
voice
know.
clear?
Yeah, clear.
Yes,
Yes,
Vinod.
Okay.
Yes, we know.
See, what we have done in Selenium, we do inspect elements, correct?
yes,
We do
yes,
inspect elements. Where do we do inspect? We do it on HTML. We thoroughly understand that any browse, any web page developed with HTML language only Selenium supports.
yes,
Other than HTML language, other than browser, your Selenium will not support anything. File is again, file concepts are out of the HTML, right? These files are prepared with the help of HTML code.
no,
No.
Vinod, no,
Not provided Selenium supports. That is the main reason, right? You have to
yes,
you have to understand that. See, scripting everybody does it, but concept wise, you should know what is the scope of Selenium. Why this? Why we are adding separate libraries? Why are we not right? Why should we add separate libraries first of all? What is the use of it? See, to use get method, we are not adding any extra jar files, right? To use get method, to close method, to open any browser, to close any browser, to find element. Are we using any kind of a special jar files? No, because those are all native to Selenium. But when it comes to, if you observe, when it comes to file reading concept, when it comes to TXT file reading and writing, when it comes to printing some data on the console, right? We have used, we have taken help of Java. Do you agree?
yes,
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 Vinod,
Yes,
Vinod.
we
Right?
know.
The same way that clearly shows that Selenium doesn't have a capacity to support file reading and writing concepts. It might be any file. It might be file, folder, anything. Selenium doesn't support. Clear? So we have to depend on Java libraries. You got that? So
yes,
Java
Vinod,
provides various libraries. Along with that, one of the important libraries that we are going to study and understand, which is mostly used for Excel, managing the Excel in our automation. Okay. Now, so this is where in the slide. So we see that Apache POI is the Java-based library. Okay, which helps in managing the Excel files. When I say managing, all the operations, whatever we do, we 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 read the data, we get the data, right? Those all operations are supported by Apache POI. Now, so very, very important, Apache POI or in your automation, in Selenium, whenever you are doing any automation, it supports, it supports, okay, it supports two important Excel files. So on the screen, right? On the screen, you see there are three images. One XLSX, the another one is XLS, and the third one is this is what what file is this one? Can someone tell me?
comma
CSV,
separated, CB, CS,
CSV file.
yes,
Whenever you see a comma,
A
it
comma.
means it's the delimited. Clearly shows, see the comma symbol, right? So
Yes.
I'm just showcasing the difference of these images. Selenium, right? In Selenium, we have used CSV. We know how to read and write, right? Did we do or not? CSV, correct?
yes,
Yes, we know.
Correct. Now, with help of Apache POI, now we will try to read and write Excel files. Okay, try to read and write Excel files. Now, Now, having said that, right? So before we proceed further, in order to your Eclipse should support Apache POI, what we need to do, we need to download Apache POI to your local machine. Correct? Yes or no? So this will be pakka interview question people will ask. How do you read and write Excel files in your automation? What should be your answer? We take with, as Selenium doesn't support direct reading and writing of Excel files, we take help of third-party library supported given by Java, which is called as Apache POI, and it stands for Poor Obfuscation Implementation. So nobody will ask you the full form of POI, but just for your knowledge purpose, I'm just sharing it. It is a stands for POI. Okay, this is an open source library, guys. So they're very important. This doesn't require any license. This doesn't require any license, and it is actually given by Apache Foundation. So Apache POI library is an open source. So when I call open source, what do you mean by open source? Can someone tell me?
Free cost.
It is you can download easy.
Have any
Right.
without take
So
any
when I say open source, it's a free of cost. You don't need to spend any money from your pocket. It is just you need to download it.
yes.
And especially this Apache POI, other than these Excel files, right? Anyway, we're not going to deal anything about apart from Excel, but you should know that it mainly focus on Microsoft Office files. When I say Microsoft Office files, it might be PowerPoint presentation, it might be Access, anything that relates to MS Office. It create, read, and edit all the Microsoft Office files with the help of Apache POI. Correct? But for our automation, we are not going to deal with any other file formats to store our data. So mainly we use Excel files in our Java or Selenium programs. And this Apache POI is available in the form of jar files. JAR. All the Selenium right from the beginning. What were we doing? We were downloading the jar files, right?
Yes.
Yes or no? We were
Yes.
using jar files to integrate. Selenium also it's a jar file. Yes or no?
Yes, we
Yes.
know.
Selenium we have downloaded jar file. Correct?
Yes, we know.
Marvin, right? Marvin we have downloaded jar file. There are everything that we uh, wanted to integrate those libraries. We download with the help of a jar files. Now say Apache POI is a open source library and distributed by Apache Foundation. Correct? We all know that now. Now, this is all formats where Apache POI supports, and it clearly says that it supports multiple formats: .xls and .xlsx. We'll see now in few minutes what is this. It also creates charts, apply formats, apply formula for data for processing. This is anyway out of scope for our automation, but as a Apache POI, you should know what all it supports. So rendering the data, it says set print area, print spreadsheets, print workbook, print formulas. It also does that activity. Very, very important. It supports HSSF and XSSF. That we'll see in few minutes. But just understand the scope of Apache POA supports these all areas. It also supports import and export all the array corrections. Result set is a kind of a array collections. So this is the scope of Apache POI. For us in the automation, we should be bothering of this format and this particular area where Apache POI supports us. Okay, and very, very important, what all things Apache POI supports, especially with our automation. And we know Apache to read the data from the Excel, we take the help of Apache POI. There is no doubt, correct? But what all operations does it supports? You should also know that, right? What all operations does it supports? As Apache POI, what all operations does it supports? It manage Excel workbooks. It manage Excel workbook. See, workbook, everybody knows Excel is a workbook. Inside the workbook, I have multiple sheets. Inside my one sheet, I have multiple rows and columns, right? That's where you can see on the screen, it manage Excel workbooks. It manage Excel sheets. It also helps us to manage Excel rows. Now, our data is stored in the form of rows and columns, correct? If you wanted to get the data, you should know where the data is lying. If you want to read the data from the Excel, right, you should know where the data is lying, in which row the data is lying, which cell the data is lying, correct? In order to read the data from the Excel, we need Apache POI. In order to read a specific value from an Excel, definitely we need Apache POI. If you want also get the entire Excel sheet, want to load complete entire whatever data is lying in the Excel sheet. If you want to read that, we need Apache POI. If you want to write any particular value in a one cell, if you want to write in a whole column or in multiple cells, you need Apache POI. If you want to create a new cell in the existing row, like example, there's already data in it, and you wanted to add one more value to the existing table, existing data, we need Apache POI. If there is any new cell available and you wanted to write any data into that, we should need Apache POI. So end of the day, so the entire what the slide tells is any operation that you want to do, you wanted to get the data, you wanted to write the data from any sheet, let's say in any workbook, we need Apache POI libraries. Without that, your Java will not be helpful to manage the Excel sheets. Okay. Hope we are clear, right? What we are discussing. Anybody has any confusion? Let me know.
Clear.
Now we know it's clear.
Yes, now we know.
All right. Okay. Now this is very, very important. If you have any book handy and all, so it's always good to make a note of these terminologies. But if you think it is fine, no need of writing it. If you can just understand it. So these are the terminologies that generally used while doing an automation. Okay, so we keep saying workbook, we keep saying sheet, we keep saying row and cell. But what are those? The workbook represents a Excel file. It can be used for creating and maintaining the spreadsheet. A workbook may contain many sheets, right? So when you create an Excel sheet, when you create an Excel, right? That Excel other name, we call that as a spreadsheet. Spreadsheet where it spreads across multiple rows and columns. Somewhere around 60,000 plus rows and columns are there in each workbook. And each workbook, I mentioned, it has multiple sheets. You can create multiple sheets. So like this, you can create multiple sheets. So let me, if you're if you're not so keen about Excel sheet, so this is my entire workbook. So I can create a number of sheets, correct? And each sheet contains lot of cells, which is in the form of rows and columns, correct? So this is my entire workbook, and each workbook I have multiple sheets. That's what the slide is talking about, right? And then what it says now, a, a sheet refers to a page in a Microsoft Excel file that contains a number of rows and columns. Now I have 5 sheets here. Sheet number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And each sheet is a combination of rows and columns, correct? To highlight it, this is the row, and these are the number of rows, right? And these are my columns. And in little bit more detail, see, this is the hierarchy. This is the workbook. Workbook contain multiple sheets, right? And each sheet contains multiple rows and cells. So this is how the hierarchy is. Now each row, what is a row here? Now we know this is a row, and that depends on what kind of data you have it in each table, right? Example, if I have a table in my table in first row, right? Then my data is in this particular column only. If I have data here as well, then I have data in a row one only, but I have a data in two columns. Now let's say I have data here and here. Then what do you mean by that? I have data in two rows, and my data is in what? Two columns.
Two columns.
Okay, so this is very, very important. I want you to be very focused. If you don't understand this, you will face many problems in writing an automation code on Excel. So please look at the screen. Everybody knows this is an Excel. Everybody knows this is an Excel. So, but I want you to be understand what it meant for us as an automation tester. Okay, again, I'll repeat. My data here is in two rows, and my data for, if I want to pick any data from here, I need to know in which row my data is lying. And if I want to pick a specific value, I need to know which column the data is lying. Okay, that's what it's talking about. A cell is indicated by a row and a column. Now this cell, now I is the capital I is the address, right? Now example, my data is here. Let's Apple. Now Apple is written in somewhere in the middle of the table. Now how can it be identified? Normally in Excel, each Excel has an address. It is in I column. What is the row? 6. Right? I column is row in the 6th row. Right? But in terms of automation, what happens? There is a, now generally we know it starts with 1. That's why we tell it is a 6th row. But in automation, it starts with 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now which row it is falling into?
Fifth row.
5th row, not 6th row.
Mm.
In automation, the index starts with 0. Okay. Now we'll focus more on that in few minutes. Hope you understand now what is workbook, sheet, row, and cell.
Yes, Vinod. Yes, Vinod.
Yes, we know.
And very much important here, the topic, this the important line, the cell, the data can be of the type such as string, numeric, and formula. Okay. Now, what is the method that we can get the value from the any particular area on the web page? What is the method that we use?
Get text.
Get method.
Get text, right? So when you use that method, have you ever think that the data is a string, data is a numeric, data is alphanumeric? Did you ever thought of that?
No.
No.
No, right? You only write, you only take that locator and write the get text method, correct? But
Yes.
when it comes to Excel reading and writing, if you want to get the data from a particular cell, you need to first check whether is it the column contains numeric or a text. Now, if my column contains a numeric, then I have to use a method which can get the value of a numeric. If my column contains textual format, then I have to use a particular method which can get the textual format from this column. You understand the difference?
Yes, Vinod.
Yes, Vinod.
I'll show you, but this is just a theory explanation, but I'll show you practically how it is. Okay, now with this understanding, we'll move forward. And this is very, very, very important for anything that you move forward. Okay, this is very important. Okay, now before we do, before we start with this, so what we do is we'll try to, you know, this is a movie. Let me close this. Okay, we'll try to download the Apache POI. Now here there are two things. Now whenever we create project, correct? Whenever we create a project, there are two ways of creating a project. Everybody agrees? So what kind of projects that we're working on? One is Maven project, right?
Yes.
One is Java project.
Other one is Java project, correct?
Yes.
Now what is the major difference here? So when I create a Maven project, guys, very, very important. Please focus. This will be your day-to-day task, interview question. Everything will come from whatever we are discussing. Whenever we create Maven projects, we need to download the dependencies from Maven and put that in a dependencies tag inside my pom.xml. Do you agree?
Yes, Vinod.
Yes,
Yes,
Vinod.
Vinod.
Again, whenever we create a Maven project, all the dependencies, all the jar files that we need, we download it from Maven. And where we are going to put that dependencies inside my pom.xml
XML.
file, right? Inside my pom.xml, I'm going to create a dependency tag, left shift key in XML, and I'll put that all my dependencies inside my dependencies. It's a plural word, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, Vinod.
Yes, Vinod.
Okay. Now, no, but very, very important. But when we create non-Maven projects, it means Java projects. What will we do? We have to download and integrate the jar files manually, correct?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes, Vinod.
Correct? This is very easy. Maven, you will go to pom.xml, you'll go to, you type Apache POI Maven, then automatically it will give you the, I can like just search Maven, Apache POI, and come here, open this one. See, this is my, if I take any version, click this one and go here and I copy this and put it on my dependency list. Correct? That's what I do, right? You agree what we do on Maven? Yes or no?
Yes, Vinod.
Yes, Vinod.
Right? But the small challenge will be adding jar files manually to your Java project. Okay, now how should we do it? Now let's say we have created a Java project. First, we need to download the Apache POI jars. Correct? You need to download the Apache POI jar files. Now, where should I download? Now, what is official website? Where is that? Yeah. Okay. Now, when I open this one, this is my landing page. This is the website where the I mentioned, right? This Apache Software Foundation, which they provide free of cost. See, nowadays nothing is free, but see, they are maintaining such a. I've been seeing this many, many years, which they provide free of service to the developers. Okay. Now, this is my web page, and it provides the latest updates. It has the documentation, Java docs, change log, everything is there here. If you have a time, just go through it. If you have a time, just go through it and try to see what all things are available here. And for now, we are going to download the Apache POI. Now, if I come down, if I click on downloads, okay, it is taking me to a next page. Correct? It is taking me to next page. Or is it in the same page? Yeah, it is in the same page. And I suggest whenever you download it, right? So this is a source distribution. Okay. So don't download SRC here. Always download which says bin, bin. Okay. For that, what we need to do, just go to this. See here, if you want to download legacy, or just go to the priority previous one. Click this binary artifacts. Okay. Now it has got lot of versions. Now come down to the latest version, right? What was the list? See here, POI bin 5.2.3 zip. Always download this zip format and bin. Correct? What is the version of 5.2.3? Okay. Again, if you are confused, I'll come from here. We are there in this web page. Click on, see this 5.4.1 is the latest one. That's fine. Or you can see archive for all previous prior releases. Click on that. Come to this binary artifacts, not the source artifacts. Binary artifacts. Come down. See for the latest one. This is the bin is the latest one. So it is actually it is in the ascending order, small to big. This is the highest number, 5.2.3. Right. Once you click on this, I'll show you the way it is. Download Selenium, and what is that? Softwares. Yeah. Can you see here? Where is that? Yeah. Can you see this one? POI dot 5.2.3. Get that? Everyone. So once it is downloaded, this is the zip format that you get. And once you unzip it, this is the file, the folder that will be extracted. Open this one. Okay. Now this is my, if I open this one, these are my jar files. And here, very, very important, I have jar files here and ooxml.library, hyphen library. If I open that, there are a couple of jar files. And if I open library, there are a couple of jar files. If I open auxiliary, there is a lot of jar files. Now I have jar files here, OXML, library, and auxiliary. You have to make sure that all the jar files are integrated to your class path. Now, if I come to my Eclipse, if I'm actually configuring my jar files to the plain project, which is not Marvel, what I'll do, I'll right click on the project, go to the properties. Again, I'll right click on the project, not on the SRC or on the JRE. This is my project properties. I'll go to my Java build path, where I'll go to my Java build path, right? I'll select this class path. That's where you need to add your libraries. I'll click on, it will not be highlighted. See here, it is in disable mode. Don't be panic. Select the class path and add external jar files. Now, this is my jar file where Apache PO is residing right now. I'll double click on this. Now don't select folders. Be careful. Select only the, how should I select? Shift and move the cursor down. Automatically it will be selected. Click on open. Right. Once it is done, right? Once it is done, come back and the same folder, open this one again to a select all, open. Then once it is done, come back in the same position, do for library and for auxiliary. Once you add all these things, you see, these are all Apache PO libraries only I've added, right? And once you add, click on apply and close. Now, that's where I did for Apache POI to my project. Or if you want to do a Marvin project, simply go to the Marvin, Apache PY. Now you have to do here, go back and 5.2.3 is the version which is most compatible. Come back to here and download this part. Okay. Now once you download this one, right, and come back to this, come back to this. Okay. So it says 5.2.3, and I have Apache POI 2.3. There should be one more. Oh, Apache POI library is common. Yeah, right. So you have to. This is the normal one, and you should also download the OXML. We have downloaded, right? This is the one OXML. So both things you have to download it here. This and this one. This all not required. This is the common one, and this is the .xml one. O.xml that you need to download for the Maven project. Okay. Now, so this is how you need to download the Maven projects as well as the jar files to your project, and you should integrate. Hope you understand where and how to download it.
Yes,
Vinod.
Yes, Vinod. Yes, Vinod.
All right. Now, so very, very important. So before you start any automation with respect to Excel, right? Any automation that you wanted to start, you have to be very careful. You have to first understand what is the uh, what kind of Excel is that. That's the first important you need to first check. You can't blindly start writing the Excel, and if it is throwing error, you can't troubleshoot, right? You can't troubleshoot. You have to be very careful, and you have to be based on what uh, what kind of format Excel sheet you have to use that particular format. Just give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So please make a note if you want to, but if you're fine, then there's nothing to worry about it. So now whenever you start any automation, especially with Excel sheet, right? You need to observe two important things. One, what kind of Excel sheet is that? So when I mean what kind of Excel, so the Excel, like Microsoft Office, Microsoft company has been evolving, right? Releasing different versions of Excel files. Now the older version, right? The older version before 2003, Microsoft Office version was 2003 before. Then that particular files, especially Excel files, were having the extension as .xls. You can see here .xls. So whenever you get, generally you while working, right, still your company might be using older Excel files, or your client is using the older Excel files. So that there might be many reasons why they are using the old Excel files. If you find anything related to XLS files, so that's extension. When I say extension, that is saved. That is generally, where can I find this? Okay, if I come back here, now this is my one Excel I have here. If I go to the properties, now see here dot XLSX. This is the new version of the Excel. Okay, this is a new version of the Excel. But if I wanted to look at the older version, is that test data? Yeah, this is the, can you see here? Microsoft Excel 2003. So now you can convert, let's say now I have an Excel sheet here. Okay, sample data. Now I have an Excel sheet. Now if I do a right click on it and do a properties, I can see a .xlsx file. So this is a new version of it, correct? But what if you want to convert .xlsx format? So all you need to just open it, correct? Just you need to go to file, save as, right? Instead of here, so you have here, these are the, yeah, this is the one, Excel 2003 workbook. Now if I save as 2003 workbook, now I can see here, now my sample data has become .xls format. Now go here and see, this is the format. Okay. No, I'm not telling you to change the format. I'm just saying, let me delete that one. I want you to understand there are two different extensions in Excel we deal with. Okay. Now, based on the extension, whether it is a .xlsx file, new version, or if it is the older version .xls. Okay. Now, it can be .xls or .xlsx. Now, based on these two formats, your automation script will vary. You will change your way of automating the script. That is what this is talking about. Now, if I have an .xls format, which is compatible with 2003 and below, we are going to use a class called HSSF, which is HSSF workbook. There are two main classes we deal with. If I have the older version lesser than 2003, I'm going to use HSSF workbook. If it is beyond 2007 or more, or the new version, right? This is used XSSF. And this is compatible for both, but always we use XSSF for the newer version of Excel reading and writing, which supports .xlsx files. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Vinod.
Okay. Now, go move further. Now, these are my main. We saw what kind of classes that we use for the workbook. Now, what kind of classes that we use for the sheets? Now, I have two different classes. One is HSSF sheet we use for HSSF workbook. It means before. Oh my God, we forgot that. Okay. So when we use the HSSF workbook, we have to use HSSF sheet to talk to the sheets inside the workbook. But when I use XSF workbook, I have to use XSF sheet. So why it is different? We know that this is used for .xls. This is used for .xlsx, which is a new format, right? So when we use a class HSSF workbook to talk to workbook, I have to use HSSF sheet to talk to the workbook sheet. The same vice versa. If I use this XSSF workbook, I have to use XSF sheet to talk to the sheet. So these are two different way of talking or managing your Excel operations with respect to your workbook and sheet. When it comes to rows, right? If I want to manage or talk to a row, right, I have to use this particular class, which is HSSF row. And if I'm using HSSF sheet, I have to use HSSF row. So this should be both in line. You can't use vice versa, right? If I'm using this particular sheet, XSSF sheet, then I have to use XSSF row to talk to that particular row or complete row. Okay. Now the same thing with respect to cell also. When it comes to cell, we have to use HSSF cell if I am using HSSF Pro. And you have to use XSSF cell if I am using XSSF Pro. So this might be little confusing, but you should be thorough once you have hands-on practice in which scenario I have to use HSSF and in which scenario I have to use XSSF cell, right? To read and write the value inside the cell. Got it? Now let's come back to this. This is the actual structure, okay? This is what the your Excel data structure looks like, right? There's a table. There's a table which is okay. Now this is a normal table structure, which is combination of rows and columns, and always, the first row we have the table definition or a table structure or metadata. There's so many names we can call that defines what kind of data is there in that particular column. Okay. Now the reason why I wanted to show this in a particular slide, so we need to understand what kind of table structure looks like and what do you mean a table for an automation person, right? Now we know there are how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. Correct? There are 5 rows. And you should be very much careful that your automation scripting understands the index 0. This starts from 0 for all rows and columns. So in my table, what you see on the screen, the first row is of 0. Zeroth row is what? My column names. Okay. The 0th row is of column names. My data is from row number 1 onwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. And how many columns do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it starts from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now,
Yes.
now I have string. See here. I have strings here. I have string. Okay. I have string here. I have string here. But I have a mobile number which is of numbers. Correct? Numeric. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when now we know there is a get text method. Correct? There is a get text method. Simply you will do you will get that locator information and put dot get text method irrespective of numeric, string or alphanumeric. It will print on the console. But in Excel, while reading the the data, now example if I want to pick a particular cell value, okay, now example I want to pick this from this email column, I want to pick Suresh at the rate of gmail.com. I know this email column has only a string, which is a textual format. Then I can define my data type or I can define my an output as a string format, right? If I'm getting a particular value, I know that that particular value is a string format. And example, if I'm picking up a particular value from this value, this column, I know this column contains only numeric. Then I can use the numeric format to get the data, right? But what if I want to get the data from all the tables and I'm printing it? Because it will pick up Suresh Kumar, ABC, Gmail, mail, and this number. So the string 1, string 2, string 3, string 4, by the time it comes here, it is a numeric, right? It will fail because these are all strings and this is a numeric. Okay. So how do I going to manage those challenges in Excel? That we'll try to understand. Okay. Now this is this is the sheet which we have just discussed, right? This is the reference variable which is created based on the format is a HSSF or XSSF, whatever is the format we are going to create that difference variable. Now sheet dot get row. The get row is something which will load that particular row. Correct? That will we are pointing out. Now it is a I here. Example, if I put get row of 0, which line it is concentrating?
First name.
First one.
Whatever number we given to the I.
Right? So if I pass 2, which row it is pointing out?
Vinay.
Vinay.
Vinay, second
Vinay,
row.
right? Yeah. So we should be aware of that particular terminology. Now, if I put example, now get row is the row number, get cell is the column. Now, if I put one get row of 1 and get cell of 2, where it is concentrating?
Kumar.
Kumar 1. 1, 2 means.
Kumar 1, get row 1, get cell 2. What is the value?
Or 1.
Mark one.
Kumar 1, right? If I know that Kumar 1 is a string, right? It is a string because alphanumeric is also a string, but I can write what? I can write the method called get string cell value. But what if I want to get a numeric value? I have a different method called as dot get numeric cell value. Okay. But how is it possible in the same cell? I'm saying get string cell value and I'm telling get numeric cell value. So this mobile number, it is a number, right? How it behaves as a string. So what can I do? Example, I have an Excel sheet created now. There is my Excel sheet created. Test it up. Yeah, this is my table which I've created. Is it the same, right? Yeah. Now see here, these are all string. That's fine. But before you make any attempt of any numeric numbers, what you have to do? You have to select the column. See here, there's a cap on top. Can you see? There's a small cap on top, right? This column has small cap on top. The small uh, black color
Green.
spot is there, right?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So what do you do? Now this is a number when you create it. What I'm doing here, I'm going to this column, do a right click and format. Now there is a different formats. Select this text format. Now what it says, can you read now? What it says?
Text format cells are treated as text open even when a number is in the cell. The cell is displayed exactly as centered.
Yes, what it says?
Entered.
Yeah, what
Entered.
it says? It is considered as a text, even
Yes.
when there is a number in the cell. Correct? Now, what are we doing? We are converting that number to a string format. Right now, let's do this. It's a number now. This is a number. Okay, now this is a number. Now, if I go and change the format, now text, if I click on OK, now this will become a string where you can use. Now, which method I can use now? Which method I have to use to get
Get
the value
string
from the
cell value. You can use
simple?
get string. Yes.
Right. If that's the value, we should use it. Okay. Any doubts so far?
No, no.
No, Vinay.
All good? Okay. Now, consider on this. Now, we have done this part. So this is the important classifications of what kind of interfaces and classes in Apache POI that we have. Right. Now, we were discussing about whenever I have a file which is having extension as .xls, I'm going to use these classes in my scripting. HSSF workbook, which has interface called as workbook. I can use XSSF workbook if I have a different. I can use either of this. I can use either of with interface and classes based on my requirement. Now it is XLSX actually. It is strongly printed. Now based on my the approach, based on my the file that we have, right? What kind of where can I find the extension? Where can I find the extension of a file?
Right on
In the
Excel sheet, right
properties.
click more options, properties.
Others, please. Where can I find?
Under the properties tag.
Right. So we should know it. Okay. Now these are all the new one. These are all the .xls ones. Correct. So this is all the interfaces that we are going to use it. Okay. Now we'll see some. Okay. So what it is. Now we'll see. Now we'll start with one .xls, right, file reading, which have created. Where is that file now? Yeah. So I have the data here. Now we'll try to uh, pick some value, read it, and we'll pick some value from the uh, this Excel. Okay. All right. Now let's go here. Now I've created a class. There's my file. Okay, I've created a class here, and before that, very importantly, you have to add all the jar files to your project. Right. Now we know whenever we deal with Excel file concepts, what we need to do, we need to create a file, right? File class, new file. And I have to tell where my file is lying, correct? Where my file is lying in my system. Now let me add this one. Now, so where is my file? Okay, this is where my file is lying. And what is the name of the file? Created test data. Test data dot XLS, correct? What is my format? XLS only, right?
Yes, Vinu.
Okay. Now, whenever you want to read, right? Whenever you want to read, we have to use a class called file input stream. I'll name this as FIS is equal to new. What is the file name I have to pass? F, right?
F.
Yes, simple. Now I also add IO as well, then go add exclamation. Yeah, now so far I've created, okay, there's a file here and file I've loaded into the input file stream. Now it is ready. Now I have to use the actual jar, like actual interfaces and classes, which is given by Apache POI to read the XLX file. Now first we have to create, first step is what? We have to create, let's, first step is what?
Create workbook.
Instance of workbook. Right, first step is that. First step, you have to always create instance for workbook. Now because it is a XLSX format, right? HS. Okay, let's put WB new copy. Always be careful. Uh, I'll show you what happens. Okay. Now let's say you typed W small letter. You'll not find that particular package which needs to be imported. See here, you can't find this. Now you'll keep on trying. What is the issue here? You'll search in Google XYZ. So, right, please make sure you are properly following the capital and small letters for this particular Right now, if I put the pointer, it says, always remember this is the user model. Okay, HSSF workbook, always it comes from Apache user model. Very, very important one. And add the add throws declaration for this. Okay. Okay. Now I've loaded the workbook. Now what is the next step now? Now, if I open my Excel, right? What I'm doing here, this is my workbook. Correct. This is my whole workbook. If I want to read the data from, right? If I want to read this, I need to know where this data is lying. It means in which sheet the data is lying. It might be hundreds of sheets here. Okay. Now I've created an instance of workbook. Now what I have to create? I have to create what?
Instance for
Instance for sheet.
sheet.
Right? How should I do it? HSSF. We know when I use this terminology, I have to use HSSF for sheet also. Correct? I'll put that as a sheet is equal to. Now this workbook contains how many sheets? We don't know. There might be a number of sheets, right? Now to talk to the particular sheet, this workbook has all the sheets available. Correct? Now I don't need to tell what is the sheet. I'll use a method called get sheet. Okay. Now what is the name of the sheet here? Name of the sheet is what? Employee capital EMPLOYE capital hyphen data. Correct. This is my name of the sheet. Correct. This is where my data is lying. Okay. Now let me add the user model for this. Okay. So far, any confusion? We have first loaded the file class, and once we have loaded, we are saying that this is my workbook. Inside, this is my file. Inside the file, I have a workbook which I have created a reference variable. Inside my workbook, there will be multiple sheets. I'm telling what is the sheet. Now I can also do show you one more thing. Okay. Now I can also get that get sheet. See here, get sheet index. So if I have 4 sheets available, I can always start with 0. 0 points at the first worksheet, sheet number 1. If I have another sheet like this, then I put 1 if my data is lying inside my sheet number 1. Okay, or whatever name you wanted to put. Now this is 0 and this is 1. 1 points out at the second one. 0 points out at the first sheet. Okay, so you can do it with help of an index also. All right, now so far good. We have loaded. Now we are telling that, hey, this is the worksheet. The name of the worksheet is this. Now the whole worksheet is loaded into this variable now. Okay, this whole data, right? It is loaded into the sheet. Now I need to get that. I need to get particular value from a sheet. Now this whole data is loaded where in this sheet. This is the variable now using. Now how to get it? Now if I want to talk to the row, now I want to talk to the row. Then what is that? HSSF row, right? I put row is equal to, because the whole data is lying in this sheet, I'm going to use sheet dot get row. Right, it's capital get row, and I want to give it with index. Now which row? Example, if I wanted to get the data from email, okay, I want to get this abc@email.com. So what should I give now? Which row it is?
1.
Second
Row
row.
number
0.
1,
1.
right? Row number 1. Now I'm telling, hey, variable, concentrate in the row number 1. But row number 1 has many columns, right? Many data, right? First name, last name, email, and all, right? So which column you want to get the data? You need to first define that as well, because we need to get a specific value. Now specific cell, how should I do it? Okay, now let me put it. Specific row. Specific cell. HSSF. And what should I write? Cell, correct?
Cell.
Cell equal to, right? Now, this whole row is lying where? This whole row, which is been loaded into this row, correct? This variable. Yes or no? This whole, the sheet contains whole data. But what are we telling? In that whole sheet, pick only row number 1 only, right? This whole row is again stored in this variable. Now, I'm telling row dot inside the whole row, which cell I need to get the value. I need to use a get cell. I want to print ABC, right? 0, 1, 2. Okay, now please close. All right. Now it is all good. Now we have got the value. Any errors now? Any errors? Print on the console. What should I do now? I'm just adding some text. It will be some meaningful. What value should I print? What value should I print now? I have got the value of it. Okay, but we haven't stored anywhere, right? What we need to do? I need to store it, right? I need to store value is equal to cell dot. Sorry. Okay. Now, what is this value? 1, row number 1 and cell number 2. What is the value?
String
Row number 1, cell number 2.
ABC.
Row number 1, cell number 2. Is it string or numeric value?
String.
String.
So what will I do? What method I'll use?
Get string cell value.
String.
That's it. Simple.
Get string. Get.
That's it.
Value. String cell value.
Right? I'm value print this here. Save. Okay. So let's run and see. It's working fine. Excellent. This printing this value. Now let's understand one more time. We are creating a class called file and we are loading into this is the path. There's no doubt. Right. So in order to read that file, we have to use a class called file input stream where it will break the complete whole file into a stream and character sequence where you can read it. Now we need to work with Excel. So we have to use this based on the extensions .xls or xlsx files. We have to use our automation scripting. But we found that is a .xls. We're going to use HSSF workbook. So always we have to go step by step. This is my workbook. You're loading the complete workbook into a WB. This is my Excel. In that file, there's a workbook. You are telling that in that workbook, there is a sheet called employee data. Why? How it is getting loaded with the help of get sheet. Get sheet can be done 2 ways: with a string, name of the sheet, or with the index of the sheet, which is loaded into the variable of sheet. This sheet contains whole data. Correct? This sheet contains whole data. In whole data, as it is a rows and columns, rows and cells, you need to know which row and which cell you want to get the data. Now whole data I'm concentrating on row number 1. Row number 1 contains 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns where my data is lying. This row contains multiple columns, and I want to tell the script, right? Inside my row, which is row number 1, concentrate on cell number 2. 0, 1, 2, row number 1. This is my target value. Because it is a string, I'm using a string cell value to get the value. But now let us use cast int. Okay. Okay. Now let's print this. What it says? Cannot get a numeric value from the string cell. Okay. You understand the difference?
Okay. Not.
Okay. Now, if I wanted to avoid this, what I need to know? I need to know get string cell value. Now I have to remove this as a string. Remove type casting, then that's all good. If I run it, it has printed. Okay. Any doubts in this reading?
No, clear, Vinod.
Okay. Now, let's say if you wanted to, let's complete that part. Another 10 minutes will take. Now we know this is an Excel already. Okay. Now there is a column called example status. Now I want to write status. Some the text or password fail something or some value or string. Let's write a string for now so that you can try it for numeric value also. Okay. Now how should I write it? To write the value, obviously we need to know which cell you want to write. The way we found out, right? If I want to get this abc@gmail.com, I should know in which row it is lying, which cell it is lying. The same way, if I want to write a particular value in this cell, first decide which cell you want to write. If I want to write it in this particular cell, I need to know the address of the cell. Now, what is the address of the cell in terms of automation? What is the address of the cell? Guys,
Address of the cell is
So use a selector.
so what is the address of the cell? This particular cell.
second row.
Column 5. First index is like
What is the address of the cell? Row and cell number?
yeah, row is first row and
First row
fifth
and the
column.
sixth column.
First row and 0,
Sixth.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Six.
6. Correct?
No,
First row 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sixth cell, right? Okay. Now let's see. How should I write it? Now again we know we need to talk to cell first. Okay, W cell is my variable I'm creating. So I know there is a sheet which I've created, correct? Sheet is created, right? The whole sheet is loaded. Inside that sheet, what I'm telling, inside the sheet, which row I need to write? Row number 1. Get row number 1.
Wow.
Okay, right? Inside the sheet, this is the row number I'm concentrating. Now this time I'm not getting the data, but I'm going to write the data. For that, first you need to do, there is a method called create cell. Create cell. Which cell you are targeting? 6, right?
6. Yes.
6, right? This is my, I'm telling inside the sheet, there is multiple rows. In that, I'm concentrating on row number 1 and cell number 6. Whenever you are writing, you have to create the cell. Create the cell and write the value. Now, what should I do now? W cell dot. Once we have created the cell, you need to set the value. Set cell value, which is of string. Okay. Now, example, right? I might write pass. Example. Okay. Now, all good. So we have used file input stream to read, but if you want to write a value inside the cell, you need to use file
Output stream.
output stream. FOS is equal to new pass this one. And what is the file location? This is the file I'm going to write, right? Need to delete this one, delete this one, add my IO. I'm adding it. Done. But WB is my workbook name, right? I need to write. And I need to pass. Always take like this dot. There is arguments. File argument. Where is that? Right. File arguments. Output here. Right. Automatically it takes this value. Now save it. So this is how you write. Let's see first it is working fine. Then we'll discuss. Always whenever you are writing, we'll see if I'm writing it, the file is open. Will it write or not? Okay. What it says? The process cannot file access the file because it is being used by another process. Okay. Because it is open here. Close it and go to my Eclipse. Run it again. Okay. It has printed the value and I'll go back and refresh the data and open the test data. Okay. See here. It has written pass. Got it? In the same script, we have used how to write the data, sorry, how to read the data, and
Write the
we have
data.
also used how to write the data. Now, this writing is very important. Reading is also very important. You have to use this writing. I'm going to give one scenario tomorrow. Just today, you practice it. Everyone, please practice it. I'm going to give some lengthy scenario tomorrow. We have to build that scripting. No, Vinod, we are busy. Let me know if you are not interested. I'll not give. But if you are interested, I'll give tomorrow one assignment where you can do it. What do you think?
Okay.
Yes, we know.
You have time, everyone?
Yes.
All right then. So, so today we have completed very important writing. What we try to understand what is Apache POI. We try to understand what all things Apache POI can do for us. We also understand the scope of Selenium, where Selenium doesn't support any file reading and writing concepts. We have to use Java libraries, have to integrate Java libraries into our Selenium projects. And to read Excel files, we take an help of third-party library, which is Apache POI, which supports in both the formats .xlss and XLSX format. And both are depends on what kind of MS Office version, that is 2003 or 2007 above. Depends on the extensions, your way of scripting should follow. Now today we saw XLSS .xls, how to read the particular cell and how to write the value in the particular cell. So tomorrow we'll continue with the another format, which is new version XLSX format, and we'll wind up tomorrow Excel reading and writing. I'm going to give one scenario tomorrow where you can practice and write the script. Okay. Any questions?
Here also we can use that dot close method, right? We'll be having it in this interface as well.
Yeah, I can use that is also important. We have to use dot close. Otherwise, in 3.25 Selenium, there are lot of issues. If you don't close the file, it used to throw. It is I used to restart the Eclipse many times, but now it has become a little robustic. It is not providing any issues. You always have to close the workbook also. Okay.